An update tonight on a News 4 Tucson investigation. After we first brought to light concerns about residents in the remote community of Reddington had about deputy response times following a brutal murder just before Christmas, the victim's family has now gotten a meeting with Pima County Sheriffs. Now, News 4 Tucson's chief investigative reporter, Corus Nylander, has more on what may come out of this meeting.
Well, for weeks now, the family of Paul Clifford have been wanting a face-to-face meeting with Sheriff Chris Nanos after he was brutally murdered trying to help strangers with car trouble. This meeting with the sheriff is now giving them newfound hope.
But I cry every day. I miss him so much.
Christina is Paul Clifford's wife of 30 years. Sabrina Vining is their daughter. For nearly 2 months, they have been dealing with the unimaginable pain of his murder. Clifford's body was found next to a burning, stolen truck Christmas Eve. A week later, 3 suspects were arrested and charged with his murder.
Oh my God.
An innocent husband, father, and grandfather stolen, an unfillable void left in this family.
Simple as my nephew will do something funny, and I'll be like, he doesn't get to see that.
When they reported him missing the day before his body was found, they say it took Pima County deputies around 2 hours to respond to their home in a remote part of Reddington. Speaking exclusively with the News 4 Tucson investigators days after the murder, they pleaded for change and wanted a meeting with Pima County Sheriff Chris Nanos.
And we would like to be contacted by Sheriff Nanos and come up with some sort of a plan for a deputy ranger, or, it's something that...
Some kind of open communication between Pima and Pinal.
Last week, that meeting finally came to be.
Actually getting that conversation was so critical.
They say the meeting went on for about an hour here at the Sheriff's Department headquarters with the sheriff and several members of his leadership team. They say they discussed increased patrols in Reddington and trying to have 911 calls routed to the Rincon district instead of Vail, where Sabrina's call for help went. Due to rough roads, it's actually the furthest district to drive to their home.
That kind of stuff felt good because it's like, they had been discussing other options.
I was very impressed with them. You could see the pain. We'll do what we can for them, as much as we can for them.
Sheriff Nanos says he understands their pain and that they want change. He says limited resources make it difficult to have a quick response in remote areas.
We're getting ready for our budget. We're working with Ms. Lesher and the Board of Supervisors to try to rectify some of that, to get me the staffing that I need to provide the public safety that I promised this community.
Sheriff Nanos and Clifford's family want to highlight how quickly detectives on this case were able to make arrests.
I knew my team worked throughout that night, throughout that week, because they felt like I did. This was a senseless, brutal, evil act, and we're going to find this guy, or these guys. In this case, 3 people.
Clifford's family hopes, if anything, his death will not be in vain and make his community safer.
We can make sure that this doesn't happen again.
To protect his community would have meant a lot to him.
And the 3 murder suspects, Jack Upchurch, Elmer Smith, and Wendy Scott, are all facing first-degree murder charges and a slew of other charges for this case. We'll keep you updated as their prosecution moves forward. Reporting from the Pima County Sheriff's Department headquarters, Corus Nylander, News 4 Tucson.